feelings. It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed in. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I've been with you, when you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the progressive news show with Let's Be S3. I am your host, Mala Long Theus. I don't know where everybody else is, but maybe they'll come back in later. So as you can see from the title, we're going to get into a slew of stories. Just a whole bunch of it. So I'm going to keep this introduction and the hee-hee and ha-has real short. Theus, how's everything going?
All things are well, sir. How about you?
Everything is pretty good. Like I said earlier, this weekend went by really quickly, but it is what it is. Mickey said, OMG, I remember all on my own. Major accomplishment for me, LOL. And my wife is in the house. Hello, baby.
Hey, Foxy.
Hello to everybody. All right, without any further ado, and you'll know the reason why, I'm going to move as quick as I can. Let's get this party started. So let's go ahead, and I don't have any video of it because I couldn't find it, which I knew was going to be the issue. Talking briefly about the Montgomery Riverboat incident, the fight. I knew I wasn't going to find any videos of it without it having to have the fight in there. And as y'all know, I just don't show that stuff on this show. But y'all know about the incident, so I'm going to quickly read the update of what happened. A fifth suspect in the Montgomery Riverboat Brawl investigation has been arrested nearly a week after the incident, capturing national attention. On Friday, Montgomery police says Roger Ray, 42, turned himself in. His surrender comes some days after law enforcement requests that he comes forward. Ray is allegedly to be the person seen on the video hitting someone with a folding chair. He's now being held in Montgomery Municipal Jail on a misdemeanor disorderly conduct charge. Ray's arrest followed those of Mary Todd, 21, who turned herself in Thursday, Alan Todd, 23, and Zachary Shipman, 25, who surrendered Wednesday, and Richard Roberts, 48, who turned himself in Tuesday. Ray is the only suspect so far not charged at least one count of misdemeanor third-degree assault, though suspects and charges are possible. So there's the update on that. Diaz, I'm going to let you take the beginning because we've already talked about this before. What we upset about more is not about the brawl itself. It's the aftermath and how it was treated afterwards. So take it away, Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion here, you know, somebody put your hands on you. I believe that you respond with equal or greater force. So I'm all 100% cool with the fight. You know, if you didn't want to be in a fight, don't start a fight, right? And then, you know, maybe this all could have been avoided. So I'm cool with all of that. I have a few opinions on little pieces of the fight, but I'm not going to go into it because as a sign of solidarity, I ain't seen none. And then as far as what followed the fight, I'm encouraged that it was like a sign of solidarity as the community rallied behind this brother that was brutally attacked. I was frustrated by the tendency to turn everything into a world star moment. So the message the way I feel about it, the message kind of gets lost, right? The message should be go about your business, do what you're supposed to do, you know, and then defend your brother and your sister when you see that one of us are under attack. And that's the message, right? Because Alabama is one of the states that is pushing really hard to curb freedoms and to reinstate a sense of second-class citizenship, I guess you could say. Deferential behavior is probably more accurate, so that these brothers and sisters standing up saying, no, I don't see anything different between you and the next person. I'm going to put my hands on you just like you put your hands on me, you know. But then the social media thing, and this cuts across the board because Americans are obsessed with entertainment. Our community, in my opinion, possibly more so, just lurching from the next shiny object and let's have as many laughs as we can have. I laughed. Some of the memes are hilarious, but then there's a point where you stop, you know. And even to this day, it hasn't stopped. Now you have parodies out there. You got songs. I just wish that we could do a little bit better job of having the fun, right? Because it blows off steam and it also builds community, but also staying focused on the real work of organizing and coalescing, because everything's not a joke. Everything's not funny. And we have to get to the point where we can respond differently to these types of things. Like, the fight was justified, in my opinion. What I would like to see in a hypothetical world, because it doesn't exist right now, is a response that would have looked more like this. They jumped on that man. The people who were there jump in and break it up. The police come and they arrest anybody who was fighting. In this particular scenario, it would only have been the white folks fighting because we just would have jumped in and broke it up. And then that would have been that part. And then there would have been organized effort on the back end to go and pay these people's bail, get them effective counsel, that type of thing running at always ready is I guess the way I would put it, and I'm not saying that you look at another community and say do what they do, but you look at other communities and you say, okay, what can we learn from how they respond to things? Had this been a member of the Jewish community, you would have seen lawsuits, you would have seen lawyers all over the place. It would have been pushed to MSNBC, Fox, everywhere else, to push the fact that you do not attack people in this way. But the coverage I saw was focused mainly on the fight.
My only thought process on it was, I've said this hundreds of times on this show, when it comes to violence like this, I don't condone it, but I understand it. And I was very proud of my community for taking up the fight when they know that this fight was unfair, that it was wrong. This ain't gonna happen on our watch. And I even made a joke, so I'll tell you my joke. I even made a joke that, yeah, them people thought they was real safe because they was back on their boat. And they thought, tag, this is it. Ooh, I'm in my safe spot. You can't touch me. And you effed around and found out that that's not true at all. The only issue that I have is, my people, you didn't even give it 24 hours before you started making it entertainment. And that's what bothers me. And yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I did laugh at some of them because some of them was funny. Some of them was quite entertaining. Then what normally happens afterwards, then it started getting lazy. Then it was just doing stuff just to do something, just so the spotlight is off the event and put on you now because haha, you're funny. And you're taken away from what that event actually was shown, solidarity. You mess with mine, I'm gonna mess with you. And you turn it into an SNL skit. And that bothers me. Less than 24 hours. Or at least 24 hours.
But see, like the first 24, I give it 48 hours. Okay. And I'm good with all the jokes and all of that because we like the joke, man. That's part of our culture. That's actually a part of our culture. And it draws people together and it spreads things faster. That's cool. It's cool. But it's like some things have to be held sacred. And sometimes the objective has to be bigger than the entertainment. So at a certain point, you have to say, all right, yeah, man, but look, right?
Yeah, yes.
But I don't want it to be like black respectability politics at the same time, right? I mean, you want to make jokes, but some things should be sacred though, right? You don't take our icons, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Sojourner Truth, you don't take them and turn them into a comic for this. Because in the reality, this wasn't part of a civil rights movement. This was standing up for yourself. This was self-defense, right? This is just another fight. Really, it's just another fight. So like when people talk about it was a holiday, it's not a freaking holiday. It's just these people fucked around and found out. That's what that was. We need to be in that mood, in that mode all the time. But I personally, and I made it a point not to go and be that dude who jumps on people's posts, but I was personally offended by the ones where they like all of a sudden you got Malcolm X holding a chair, or you got Martin Luther King holding a chair, or you got, it's just like it's nothing sacred. You could do anybody else holding a chair. You can have the random slave lady holding a chair like I did. You can have there's all kinds of stuff you could do. All kinds of stuff you could do. But our heroes and our icons, some things should just kind of be off limits to me. I don't know. But that's my personal taste. That has nothing to do with everybody else's taste. But that's how I felt about it.
Yeah. I just know from history that the more you make, and this is what I'm saying right here. I am not saying that eventually you're gonna have to make some jokes about some events to keep your sanity in this country. But I know from history that the more you keep joking about it, the more the message is lost.
It's not a big deal to you. How's it gonna be a big deal to them?
Yeah, that's my point.
Let's just be real about it. If you can't take it serious, you can't be mad when your adversary doesn't take it serious. That's the thing. And that, like I said, this is not about black respectability. Well, you got to make sure you told a lie so you don't look funny in front of people. No, I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm saying, what are we after? Right? I'm big on, fuck them. I don't care about them. Right? I don't care. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm concerned about us. We're in a rebuilding mode. We're in a growth mode. So what is it that we are after, and what is it that we want to present? Right? So part of what we want to present is that you don't get the jump on one of us. This is not, we are not subjugated yet. You know what I'm saying? So part of the message was don't put your hands on it. Second part of the message is we're going to defend our own. Then we're gonna have a good time about it. Just, family do. Family makes it, it's family. But then at the same time, what the old lady, what did the mother used to say back in the day? Don't hang your dirty laundry outside or whatever it is. Sometimes you got to get serious. And I think like now should be the time that we're serious. And I don't even see us being serious. I see what has happened is it happened, it caught fire, it became funny, it faded away, it's over. And then we're going to mobilize again. Thank you, Stokely Carmichael. We're going to mobilize again the next time one of us is set upon. We're not organizing yet. And that's the next piece. We have to start organizing so that we're active even when we're not under attack.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. We can slow down now. That was shorter than I thought it was going to be. So we can slow down now. Issue 1 in Ohio. The video explains exactly what it was. I have a 2-part video, one that's describing the issue 1 vote in Ohio. And then right after, I have a video from Bo of the fifth column, explaining a significant thing that I thought I talked about it yesterday. Maybe I didn't. These shows run into each other. So maybe I said something about it yesterday. Maybe I didn't. But here is the issue 1 vote in Ohio.
But first, we have an update on news out of Ohio, where the Associated Press is reporting voters overwhelmingly rejected the ballot proposal known as Issue 1 at the polls Tuesday. Passing the measure would have made it more difficult to amend the state constitution at the ballot box starting this November, when voters will consider a measure to enshrine abortion rights. Citizens were asked to choose yes or no on whether to raise the threshold for passing amendments to 60% of voters, up from a simple majority. It would also have imposed other limits aimed at holding up future amendments. Officials reported a bigger than expected turnout for Tuesday's special election. Analysts say it could be a bellwether for the November ballot measure. That's when voters will decide on a state amendment to guarantee access to abortion. Several other Republican-leaning states have passed similar measures protecting abortion access. Right now, Ohio has a law in the books that bans most abortions, but it is currently on hold while a court challenge plays out.
GT Massive, welcome to the show. Make sure that I shout you out. Welcome to the show. Hope
Welcome.
you enjoy yourself. Right after this, I want to show you what Bo was talking about, which again, I thought I was talking about it yesterday. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. About the future and what the Republicans are not paying very close attention to. And Democrats need to, I'm saying it for the sake of saying it, okay? Trust me. And where Democrats need to not only pay close attention to it, but take advantage of it. And to every Democrat that went whoosh right over y'all head. So, okay, here we go.
Okay, so the results aren't completely in yet at time of filming, but they're definitely close enough to let you know what happened. At time of filming, 56.7% voted no. It's staying the way it is. It is staying the way it is. 56.7% to 43.3%. So it does not appear that all of the fear-mongering and key rattling and all of that stuff really had an effect. I guess the people in Ohio can, in fact, run their own lives. Okay, so you have all of that as just an update, but there's something else at play. Early reports show that the area around the university there, 98% voted no. That's staggering. That is staggering. And that is something that the Republican Party's definitely going to need to pay attention to and adjust for. It won't be long, and by it won't be long, I mean 5 years. In 2028, millennials and Gen Z, they are going to dominate voting in this country. Those are going to be the votes. It's going to be a big block, and it's not going to be one that can be ignored. Even those people who are conservative within that block are more progressive than the current Republican Party platform. And it's showing in big ways.
Okay, so let me go backwards to go forwards. Practically, issue one was just another way of making it harder for people to have a say-so of any changes to Ohio's constitution. Right now, it's 50 plus 1 to change anything. They wanted to move it up to 60%, so more majority. They didn't say it, so I want to be fair. They didn't say so that we can make changes about the abortion ban in Ohio. But let's use common sense. That's exactly the reason why they wanted to change this. So they could do.
The party even said it.
Oh, they did say it. Oh,
Party leadership admitted it. Yeah.
okay. So, yeah. So that was burned down. Around colleges in Ohio, 98% voted against it. 98%. This next generation is becoming more and more and more progressive. And the Republican Party sees this. Remember the dude that I said wanted to raise the voting age to 25 unless you can pass a civics test every year up until that age. Yeah. So they know that. They know exactly what they're doing. They're trying their damnedest to make sure they're making it harder for the new blood to come in and vote against them. Hey, Anna.
Hey, guys.
And they're doing their best now. This was step one, figuratively speaking, because God knows this wasn't the only state. I'm just making a point. Step one of always trying to water down democracy in favor of them, because that's the only way they know now that they can win. So it isn't their arguments anymore. It isn't their presidents. It isn't their policies. It's not their procedures. It's none of that stuff. They have to water down democracy to win. Period. Point blank. In a discussion. They have nothing else, and they've shown you that they don't. So we need to tighten up, folks. The next generation is doing fucking better than we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a damn shame. We can't even show the new generation how it should be done because we just waiting for that shiny knight to come across that horizon and save us. Meanwhile, the people that we raising doing a better job than we doing.
That says something, though.
It says something that we have effed up this country and this world so much that they're afraid this is what you're leaving me. And if I don't take care of it now at my early age, I'm going to be in a fucked up situation.
Mm-hmm. My 10-year-old nephew is very cognizant of environmental matters. He can describe to you where pollution comes from in the different form. It's a different world. Sorry.
So one thing no, go ahead, Ann. I'm sorry.
No, I was done.
Oh, one thing I said, I took a couple notes, but just on that last piece. So the youth are always the change agents, right? They haven't been through life yet. They haven't had hopes, aspirations, and expectations, dulled or beat down or watered down, so it's natural that they do this. In fact, they're kind of like the 70s generation, like, because everything's a cycle. So they're like that group of kids, right? So
right,
it just makes sense. And it's frustrating that our generation didn't do more, but our generation is like the second generation to benefit from affirmative action. So we came up through a different era in America's cycle, and our children are looking at it and they're seeing that what they're inheriting is garbage, and they're paying attention. But I want to go to some of my notes. One of the things I want to say about the Ohio thing, to me, there's still bad messaging going on here. So I get why the focus is on abortion, right? That's what you always hear. Whenever they bring up this thing, they talk about abortion. But so I guess in a way that is almost good messaging, but it's obscuring an important point, I feel. So abortion is a topic that is a rallying topic. It's a mobilizing topic. You guys are going to hear me say this a lot. Mobilizing and organizing, two different things.
Yep.
So it's a mobilizing topic. Everyone, I can't think of an exception, has or is either has a woman that they care about in their life or is a woman who cares about their life, right? It crosses every group, right? I don't care where you subclassify being a man or a woman. Sorry, y'all out there who, non-gender confirming and all that, but I get it. But that's not talking about y'all right now, so hold tight.
We're talking about sex, not gender.
Right. The basic building blocks is male and female, okay? So we all have these groupings no matter where you want to put your ideologies. So they touch on abortion because that will mobilize young people. It'll mobilize because they're in the midst of trying to decide, can I even start a family? They're sexually active, but they're not ready to have a family in many cases. So they want their options. So it's very personal to them. And then with like our generation and a little bit older, you know, in many cases, we're done with the kid making process. But we want to make sure that the young people have the same rights and privileges that we had. And then the group right behind us, they're usually the ones that you have trouble getting to vote because they're busy just trying to survive. So this was an opportunity to rally. But the real issue, in my view, for Ohio was what Marlon touched on. It was the tricks of a power grab. Okay. The Republican Party in Ohio said that there should not be any of these special elections. Then, because they needed to be able to try to slide this thing in an off election year, they made an exception to their own exception to push this thing through. And it was because of the organizers and the activists that too much noise was made and people turned out. But people turned out because of abortion. But the real issue on the ballot was not abortion. The issue that these people went and voted on was about changing the rules on how you can pass a law, because next year there will be a motion to enshrine the right of abortion into the Constitution of that state. And the Republicans are afraid they'll lose because the numbers aren't on their side. So they flipped it to what do you call it? The big
Supermajority.
Supermajority. So that's what this was really all about. It was about a power grab manipulating how laws are written and enforced, because it goes across a lot of subjects. But we get sucked into abortion. One of my issues with the abortion argument, national and state level, and I'm guilty. Liberals, we are known for our positions being way too wonky. I get it. I'm guilty. Abortion isn't, to me, it's not about the right of abortion. It's not about, can a woman make the decision to have an abortion or not. It is about human rights and bodily autonomy.
Yes.
Right? Whatever the woman wants to do with her body, just as men, there's nothing that tells a man when we can or cannot have a vasectomy. Nothing.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
There's nothing that I'm aware of that says that you can't give us condoms. But the effort to control a woman's body, thereby taking away her autonomy, thereby preventing her from having the same level of authority over herself as a man, that is the issue. So we should be fighting on human rights, right?
Yep.
But slogans means we have to focus on abortion. But really, that puts us back where we started from, because the reason we're here right now is because when they tried to get Roe v. Wade into the law, they had to use privacy because they couldn't find a way to get it past the Congress of that time.
Right.
And because they put it on privacy, the Republicans and the conservatives undermined what privacy means, and then they were able to break Roe v. Wade. So it's like we have to build these things on a much firmer foundation, in my opinion. And then the last thing, Marlon, you were talking about democracy. And I hear this all over the place. One, it already annoys me when black folks say these things, but I hear it all over the place, across the board. They're trying to take our democracy. They're trying to break our democracy, blah, 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 blah. America has never truly had a democracy. It's always been branding. So up until 1968, everybody couldn't even vote. So the case could only be made from like maybe 1968 till now that we've had a democracy. That's what, I don't even know. Let me do 60 years, 50 years, something like that. That ain't very long, people. Okay. So out of a 250-year life, 50 years of it, we've had a democracy. Come on. No, we haven't. And then within the democracy, we have the issues with gerrymandering, the issues with all these different things. So, and I close with this. All that comes back to the deferred responsibility and accountability. Yet again, like Marlon, you said, waiting on that shining night. Yet again, we are placing our responsibilities on these young people, this nebulous thing called young people. And they're going to, more of them are coming to voting age. So they're going to fix all of this, or they're at least going to break the Republican Party because their numbers are going to be too weak. That's the same thing we say about the browning of America. That's the same, you know what I'm saying? It's always pushing it, kicking the can down the road. And what's always overlooked here, these young people, they're not doing this because they're Democrats. These young people are doing this off of the issues, which means you run a very high risk of you not taking these people seriously for another election cycle, this is their second election cycle for some of them. And they will then drop out of the game. So the same thing that it's like you're recreating the same scenario. So these young people aren't going to say shit. They're going to be ran off because they're going to be disgusted by the 70 through 50-year-olds who still aren't listening to them. So the Republicans can still win. The conservatives can still win because you create an apathetic youth movement. Look how many black men are like, yo, it's fucked up no matter which way we go. So you got black men attaching to Cornel West, even though great man, I love Cornel, but I personally cannot see him as commander-in-chief. I just don't see it. Right?
I find that interesting.
I see him as a great minister. I see him as a great civics leader. But when I want somebody to go out there and put Putin in his place, I don't see that. When I'm looking at somebody having to make some dark calls, because everything, folks, with international policy and stuff like that, it ain't hugs and kisses. You make some dark deals. And I don't see him being that person. And in fact, I wouldn't want him to be. He is one of the best of us. So I wouldn't want to see him in those positions. So it's like, yo, we I don't know, man. But I talked enough. I apologize, y'all. Go ahead, do your thing.
All right. Nothing. That's it. All right. Let's move on to the story that apparently when we talked to the panel yesterday, none of y'all knew about this. And and you didn't know about it because I forgot what it was. All I said was Mississippi did a good thing and then blanked on what Mississippi did. So what we found out is Mississippi, the lifetime ban on felons, after they have done their sentencing, they were still banned from voting. A judge has decided to put a ban on that blockage. So now felons who have done their time are now allowed to vote again. So here's the story.
The U.S. Court of Appeals has ordered this Mississippi Secretary of State to stop enforcing a lifetime voting ban for people with disqualifying felony convictions who've completed their sentences. Two judges on the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals panel ordered the Mississippi Secretary of State to stop enforcing the law that was established back in 1890. According to the judges, the law disenfranchises people convicted of specific crimes, including murder, forgery, and bigamy. Lawmakers say the decision to overturn this old law will restore voting rights to tens of thousands of Mississippians.
You had a lot of groups that would go out and try to get everyone's voting rights restored. We would go through the process of finding out if they were released and paid their debt to society, and then petition the committee on the House side as well as on the Senate side to take it to a vote in order to have these individuals' voting rights restored. And it was burdensome to them, and it is, because we've only done, since I've been in the legislature the last 8 years, we've only restored the voting rights to maybe 2 or 3 people.
Well, the lawsuit filed in 2018 by the Southern Poverty Law Center claimed Mississippi's lifetime voting bans arbitrarily grant or deprive citizens who live here of the right to vote and was intended to discriminate on the basis of race. The decision to overturn the law comes days ahead of the primary election.
The argument that they used to overturn this was cruel and unusual punishment. And what they're saying was that it was more of the unusual part of it. More or less the cruel, but they more or less focus on the unusual. What they was basing it off of is that you're double punishing someone for whatever the crime is. And funny thing about it is the felonies that they was talking about, it isn't all felonies. It was certain felonies.
Okay.
If you're found guilty of this certain felony, then this certain felony. So it wasn't all felons. So
which allows them to target certain groups a little bit
so it
better.
allows you to target certain people.
Bigamy.
So when they were saying that, and if you're not discussing that this dude was in office for 8 years and only 2 or 3 people got the ability to get their rights back to vote, I don't know how.
Don't look at Alabama and Florida, then you'll be really upset.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm still looking at y'all.
I mean, this is Mississippi. It's Mississippi.
Well, that's the funny. This the funny thing about it is Mississippi. I mean,
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying like Mississippi was like the last state to give up its slaves. Okay, Mississippi is an interesting place. Okay,
that was my point.
Here's my thing though: we're still looking at the judiciary to write laws effectively, right? So you got a judge saying stop enforcing this particular law. That's actually the executive branch's prerogative, right? The executive branch decides what they enforce and don't enforce. The judiciary interprets the law according to whatever level constitution, whether it be state or federal. So this judge can render the law to be unconstitutional for the state of Mississippi, but it's still the executive branch that has to decide to stop enforcing. So in a way, what we're dealing with here is and this is happening on every level. The judiciary is being called on to operate on levels that they weren't designed to operate on. And we should have a problem with that. Yes, right now we're seeing some decisions that benefit us because the Senate, the legislative branches, state and federal, and the governor and presidencies and the executive branches, they've just been horrible. But just like the judiciary can make a decision you agree with, they can make decisions that you don't agree with. It's not their role. And it's like, how far has our country slid to where they're the last line of defense? They're the last ones kind of doing a job. That's scary to me. To me, that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Mississippi. First of all, I'm sorry. I just can't get it out of my head. It's Mississippi. I mean, we don't have
but we can't.
We don't have many, but you got to admit how bad this country is when we still know what Mississippi is going to do, Alabama going to do, Louisiana going to do, Kentucky going to do, Texas is going to do, Florida is going to do, Arkansas is going to do. You are in your own freaking category of effery.
Yeah. The bigotry and the identity Olympics or whatever you want to call it is so thick in the old South that we already know of the 8 states off top that just be like, well, what do you expect? And that says a lot about the country. With all the demographic shifting, with people moving, with industry and all of that, there are still 5 to 8 states that you just know what to expect. Because they intentionally keep big industry out so they can maintain these old school control. And then the ones like Florida who just completely rewrite, they just flip the script altogether, and they move a lot of bigots move there, and then they overpower the state. Because it's not like the homegrowns that are really that bad in Florida. It's all the old people who moved to Florida. And then they created a whole ecosystem that brought more people like them, their thought process to Florida. So Florida flipped. Texas would flip, but they keep immigrants from getting the ability to vote. They do these things with the voter disenfranchisement that you just brought up about Mississippi. You know, it's personally, I say, unless part of your sentence is a suspension of your citizenship, you should still retain the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're in there for killing 50 people. Until they pull the switch on your chair, you should still be able to vote in these elections. Because as quiet as it's kept, these states, the inmates still count. They're still residents of the state because the state now owns them to an extent. They are residents of the state. So these counties where these jails are put in get the benefit of having more numbers so they can get more representation. They can get more resources from the federal government. They can do all of these things, but the people who are giving you these numbers don't have their voting rights, their citizenship rights. It's convict leasing and slavery kind of roll right on in there together, which is why to this day, the 13th Amendment has that exception clause sitting loud as hell, and no one's trying to get rid of it. Because if they tried to get rid of it, it would mess with the prison system, it would mess with the legal system, and that messes with money.
Well, I tell you, the most powerful thing in this country is money, economics.
But
it's all in pursuit of power.
Right.
Yeah.
To piggyback on what Parker was saying, Mississippi did not ratify the 13th Amendment until 1995. They didn't even notify Washington, D.C. until 2013.
That's 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
For y'all to keep saying this is old news and everything, and it ain't important, and that was a long time ago. Yeah, no, no, it's not. Either you're going to look, and let me help anybody out that has that argument. This is why we keep bringing these subjects up. Even if the event happened a long time ago, which we've proven on this show that it hasn't happened a long time ago, but depending on what your definition of a long time ago is, you know, it's kind of funny that you want us to stop talking about slavery, yet you still celebrate the Confederacy. Okay. So depending on what your definition of a long time ago is, are you talking about the event or the effect? The event in your definition could be a long time ago. The effect, like we just pointed out, happened 10 years ago. The effect,
or the fact that we're talking about this case right now, it's happening now.
Yeah, and the effect that what happened 10 years ago is being affected right now.
Yeah.
So stop saying that long time ago crap. There was people who have this racist bigotry, whatever you want to do, power trip, whatever this is. It wasn't the event that they put together. The event happened, great, wonderful. What they was betting on is the effect afterwards. The effect from generation to generation to generation.
Yeah.
And you keep thinking because the event happened in your sublime years ago thing that we shouldn't talk about it because it happened so long ago. We're talking about it because the effect is going on right now. That was the design of it.
So how come you can't let go of the Civil War when that was by your definition a long time ago?
Right. And so with that, I guess it's like
Be
this is going to
consistent.
be really funny. You know, you can't get there won't be, right? Because human nature says you use whatever leverage you have.
Right.
And then you have these people who, you know, they're not going to deny their grandfather. They're not going to deny their great grandfather. They will obscure it and pretend like, you know, woe is me, you're picking on me. But they won't disinherit the benefits. They won't do any of those things.
Mm-mm.
So they say we shouldn't erase history. You know, don't take down the statues. Don't teach how horrible slavery was, right? You know, and then they turn around. No, I'm sorry. They say don't take down the statues because that's history.
Right.
But they want to get rid of accurate tellings of history because that makes me look bad.
Right.
So you're not going to get fairness out of these people. What I am more keen to is wherever you land, right? Me, I center blackness and then I focus on disadvantaged or vulnerable groups, right? But you can be laser focused wherever you want to be. You can be laser focused on the queer community. You could be laser focused on women's issues. You could be laser focused on whatever you want. And then what we're charged with is finding what issues we overlap in and we move in a coordinated function that way. We don't have to agree on everything. Just on those coordinated things, we move, right? With racists and with trans community and with the gay community and with whatever community, we all want our kids to have a good education and a safe childhood.
Yep.
Right? So work there. But we're in full disagreement, law enforcement, what that's supposed to look like. Voting rights protection for Black people. See, those are more niche. So now those you need to actually create alliances and partnerships and move on that. But we have to stop expecting people to forsake their own best interests because it's the right thing to do. No one does that. Not willingly. They just
right.
don't.
There lies that word. Not willingly and not on purpose.
Right.
It's a byproduct.
Yeah. A racist is not going to just give up being racist because you told them racism was wrong.
Yeah.
Typically what gets through to a racist is the same thing that gets through to someone who hates people for being gay. They end up in close proximity for an extended period of time and are forced to see the humanity of the other, because while some people are elevated enough to learn without experiencing it directly, most people learn by experiencing it directly.
Yep.
And that's an unfortunate thing, but it's the reality.
That's reality. Yep. All right, let's move on to our last story, and this will be a short one because your boy Trump.
That's your boy.
Ain't my boy.
Oh.
SCIF, a SCIF room. SCIF stands for Sensitive Compartmental Information Facility. Basically, it is a building that can be put together. Special material, bug proof. You can't bring your laptop, your cell phone. You can't bring any electronics in there. It has the ability to record any information that is being shared in that room. This
super secure, safe room.
Super secure, safe room. This room right now is at a federal courthouse and added near it, whatever, for going through the documents that they got from Trump's Trump's compound
Yeah.
to go through the documents. At this present time, that means that the lawyers and Trump, if they want to go through the documents, they have to go down to the federal courthouse to look through them. Man, and then here come Trump.
Donald Trump and his lawyers have submitted a request to Judge Eileen Cannon to build a skiff at or near Mar-a-Lago. President Trump opposes any portion of the proposed CIPA protective order that prohibits counsel from simply discussing the relevant purportedly classified material with President Trump inside an approved secure location other than the designated skiffs in the Southern District of Florida where the classified discovery will be housed. President Trump respectfully requests that the proposed CIPA protective order be modified to approve reestablishment of a secure facility in which Trump was permitted previously to discuss and review classified information during his term as President of the United States. So Donald Trump wants the government to build and pay for a skiff near or in Mar-a-Lago. Sounds like another delay tactic to me.
This ain't even a delay tactic. This is, I took these things that were government security issues, stored them in my bathroom, ballroom, hallway closet, anywhere I could find a way to put them, I just put them. And I said that it was secure because there was a locked door that also held other supplies, so people could go in and out. But anyway, no, that's get past that. That's the detail. I had this stuff in my house unsecured, and you took it from me. And I'm saying I still need to look at this stuff. So can you please put a secure facility in my house so I could bring those things back to my house and look at them and then lead in my defense that these things were not classified and they were secure? The hell?
I mean, oh, Donald, listen to me, dude. You're missing the final points of why you have to go to them and they not coming to you.
You're not the president anymore. You are the former.
Well, it is that, but
I just can't get past the other part.
It's not the fact that you had these sensitive classified documents everywhere in damn Mar-a-Lago. Let's just call it. I can't even name the thing. One of your rooms that you had that you had it in had a copier. Let's just put all of that aside. Let's put that all aside.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Marlon, you went mute.
Alexa turned on for some reason. I have no idea.
Oh.
But anyway, it wasn't the fact that you had this stuff all over the place willy-nilly. It's the fact they can't trust you because you ran your mouth off and was showing documents to people that wasn't vetted to look at these documents.
That's Marlon, it's worse than that, brother. I stole a car. I stole a car. You came and took the car from me so that you could use it as evidence to prosecute me for stealing the car. But I need you to bring the car back to me because I left some things in the trunk. That's how dumb this is. I stole the documents, didn't secure them, so you are arresting me for stealing the documents, and you took the documents from me. Well, I'm telling you, give them back to me, but we got to make sure we do it right. So build me a skill.
Right.
And then we supposed to trust you that you would use it, though. That's
I don't care what he does with it. No.
LL is right. He's so out of touch. He doesn't hear what we hear.
But his lawyers, right? I know you got to do pretty much what your client says, but you're a lawyer, so there's certain things you don't bring up, no matter what your client says. I don't care what your client. Your client could say, "Go tell the judge that I want peanut butter and jelly." You're not gonna go tell the judge. So it's silly time, right? It's like I mean, how do you even take these people seriously if you're Jack Smith and his team? And at the same time, the judge they got to deal with. This lady has never really held. She's had, I think, 4 court trials. All the rest have been like plea deals and stuff. She has not had to oversee actual trials. So she doesn't know all the rules. She doesn't know all the ways things happen. She doesn't know. So she coming in there, watching something on Fox News on Tuesday and repeats it on Wednesday. And then Jack and them got to look at her and be like, yeah.
No. I don't know about that, Thiz. I
look it up.
I don't know. I agree with what you said. I agree with that. I'm just saying, Jack Smith, if that's your real name, Jack Smith is a special kind of dude. I mean, Jack Smith is a walking don't give a F person.
That like, dude is ice cold.
That dude is cold. So I don't know. This dude is thinking
he's Robert Mueller
before everybody else.
20 years younger.
Yeah. Yay. He you know you good when you know when to change your name.
Why y'all keep saying that man changed his name? He may or may not have, but why y'all do that? You see, why y'all do that? These conspiracy theories, they undermine everything. Everything.
The man's name is John. Jack is quite often used as a diminutive of John. John Lumen Smith is his name.
Oh, see, there you go. If that's his real name, stop it. All y'all out there, stop it.
Stop it.
Oh, hey, LL. Thiz, it's just me. Or is he asking for permission to lock the ish up properly so he can argue it was already locked up?
Pretty much.
Right.
Put it past
I'm gonna lock it up this time.
This time.
Hey, I'm gonna lock it up. Hey, but how you gonna lock it up? You don't have a secured area. You're right. I don't have a secured area. I got you.
Build me one.
And you pay for it.
And right.
But I heard one of these talking heads, because you know they all just talking. But one of them made a good point. It was like they drew Cannon. They didn't know how she was gonna do. Now if she was more up to the task and wanted to be corrupt, then what she would have likely done is wait until the trial started and then start playing games. But instead, she's playing games now, which is sloppy. But they're like, because she's starting to play games now, Jack Smith's team can go ahead and let them slow roll it. Right? They can go ahead. There's nothing they can really do to stop Cannon from playing games. So let her slow roll it. It gets moved out. But he's already got the federal case happening in D.C. now. And that one doesn't have all the complications that the documents case does. So you can go ahead, get him on those charges, because made sure he was very narrow. and he only went after stuff that you could get him on.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't get him on the heavier stuff that people wanted him to get, but it's still 20-year sentences behind this stuff. So he's going to go get that. That'll happen in time for the election. Cannon's going to play her games. That'll push that trial out past the election. And there's no sweat off Jack's back because he can do the other one.
Well, the funny thing about it is Trump already has put in a request to delay the trial. Jack Smith has already requested. Now I want January 2nd.
Yeah. Because once Cannon started slowing down the documents case, that freed up the calendar. Because see, Cannon's case was supposed to be moving first because it was filed first. So she had her choice of between January and March. Well, with her playing these games, which is pushing things out, now the DC case can use January to March. Okay. If I was Jack, I'd be like, all right, that's what I thought you were going to do. So I don't care. We're going to do this. And then when it's time, we'll do that one.
Told you. This man is a special kind of special dude. I'm sorry.
But there was a guy who said this is super important, and I agree with him. We as a society, we cannot allow ourselves to hope Jack Smith saves us all.
Right.
That's what we did with Mueller.
Yep.
And he got hamstrung by Barr. So we can't count on someone else to do our work for us. Our work still remains. We have to outweigh the Electoral College. And the only way to exert extra force on the Electoral College is that everyone votes their interests. If not, if you just sit back and say, well, Alabama is going to go the way it's going to go and whatever's going to... No. All you out there who have, I'm not even going to say liberal or progressive because I still don't like the term progressive. I ain't never liked it. But anyway, wherever you stand, what lines up most with your issues? You're not going to get it all. What lines up most with your issues? Vote accordingly, but get out there and vote because you have to exert that weight against the Electoral College. Because that's where the game's going to be won and lost.
All right, everybody. We're a little bit over the first hour, but I had to make sure that we get all this information in next Sunday because I already got what we're going to do. Next Sunday, I found somebody who did go through the entire indictment, 45-page indictment on Trump. And he explains front and back all the way through. So next week's show is we'll be dissecting. This is the voter fraud case, not the document case. It's kind of absolutely, with that sentence coming out of my mind, that I literally have to explain which case that we're talking about against a former president. But okay, just to be perfectly clear, this is not the New York case. This is not the document case. This is the voter fraud case. All 45 pages, and he's going to break it all down. So that's what we're going to discuss next Sunday. If you're new here, this is the part where we take a 3-minute break to reboot and refresh. We call it the Mickey break because she was the one that came up with the idea of, can we please take a 3-minute break so I can reboot my computer? And it's just stuck from that point on. So we're going to take a 3-minute break to reboot and refresh. And we have a returning. Oh.
Just before, have we welcomed our new commenter?
Yes, we did.
This is a new name for me, and I do want to say welcome.
Welcome to the show. We appreciate it. Also, LL, thank you for coming in, brother. You've been a while since I've seen you. This is where we're going to take the 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we will be back with a Am I the A-hole, a returning Real or Nah, and of course, Foxy's videos of the week. Stay tuned.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I always say dreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally, higher to above you. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Finally.
See, this is what happens when you don't pay people. They take a bathroom break and still don't come back yet. So, welcome back to the show, everybody who decided to come back. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please support Tracy at buymeacoffee.com/Tracy Media LLC. Help support Tracy at all of her endeavors. Please support Anna Hart at her website, BoreliaEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. And as always, if you want to send me a message of any kind, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's RADTP@outlook.com. And I am so disgusted for many years. I've been trying to say that stuff word for word and phrase for phrase. And when I finally got it done, I got to cut it in darn near a quarter. Took me 3 years to get all that stuff out, and now I got to learn all that stuff all over again. That's messed up.
Buy me a coffee.
JC Massive. Obama said it more than one way before being elected. We have to do the work to improve our situation. Mickey, JFC, Gore Hughes, loud exploding sounds that they are in my backyard. There are no houses there, just wood. Oh, Jesus effing, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Huge, loud
JFK.
explosions?
That sounded like they were in her backyard. Mickey, please, please.
Ooh, be careful. Keep us updated.
Mm-hmm.
Scared the shit out of me. Scared the shit out of me, and I'm not even there.
Yeah.
And then LL, of course, is laughing at me because that's what LL does. Am I the a-hole? At the end of this video, almost explaining the situation, I could tell you up front, there's a portion that's kind of missing. I had to listen to it 3-4 times, and then I finally caught on to it. So if you're kind of confused at what happened in the middle all the way to the end, I'll explain it to you. But the title is "My Sister Almost Ruined My Relationship."
Over a year ago, my relationship got put in a bad place because my ex, who I broke up with 2 years prior, sent me a DM that I'm her baby daddy. Her daughter was under a year old, by the way, so I already knew it was BS, and I told her don't contact me again. She found my girlfriend, who's 27, on Instagram, and then started sending her messages too, that this is my daughter. She's sorry for being involved with me, knowing I was in a relationship with my girlfriend, but since I'm refusing to take responsibility, she didn't know who else to reach out to, trying to make herself seem all genuine. My girlfriend was sent fake screenshots that were supposedly from me, then also the one I actually sent her about leaving me alone because that's not my baby. Around this time, my girlfriend was 6 months pregnant, so the stress and hormones of that, plus the info she gave her, the times we supposedly met up after telling my girlfriend I'm working late matches up, because those were actually nights I had to work late. All of that freaked her out, and she really did start having doubts. It got to the point where my girlfriend was really scared and confused, and then she went to stay with her parents for a few days. I was so scared I was gonna lose my family. Then, my ex apologized when she heard my girlfriend wasn't staying at our apartment. She just wanted to mess with us a little because she was still bitter I dumped her, but she didn't mean for it to go that far. My girlfriend came back. It took some time to come back from that, but we have our son now, who's 7 months old, and we've been happier than ever. My sister, 25, female, told me about this last weekend when we were at our parents'. She got a little tipsy, and when we were joking about all of our old embarrassing stories, she just blurted it out that she thought it was okay to talk about it now since me and my girlfriend are fine. I kept asking her why the heck would she do something like that, straight up arguing right there in front of my family. She says she was just being stupid and bored since she wasn't working, and like my ex, didn't realize it would get that bad, which is why they stopped it. But obviously, my ex didn't rat on my sister. I called my sister a jerk for almost wrecking my relationship, and what that put my girlfriend through. My sister started crying, and this is why she didn't say anything, because it might get this reaction. She only said something now because she was embarrassed, and now we're in a good place, so she doesn't know why I'm so mad about it. It was a whole thing. My sister cried in the bathroom and wouldn't come out. I went home early to be with my girlfriend and son. They're all saying that I behaved like a jerk when my sister decided to come clean, and that I owe her an apology for my overreaction, just like she owed me one. Was my reaction warranted though, or was it actually an overreaction? I'm still mad about it. Am I the jerk?
So the confusing part of the story that didn't say that was it wasn't an ex at all that messaged the boyfriend and subsequently the girlfriend. It was the sister all along, being bored and thought it was a funny joke and hee and ha ha. It was the sister all along that did the messaging. So that's why if you listen to the story about her knowing the ex knowing what days he was working late and things like that, it was the sister that knew her brother was working late these dates at these times, and thus making it more realistic. And when it went too far as the girlfriend at the time leaving, that's when she came back. Oh, I was just messing because he broke up with it and everything else. And what makes this double effort, it wasn't for the fact that she came out and said this because she felt guilty. The sister I'm talking about felt guilty about doing this. No, you came out and said it because you was drunk and you thought everything was okay. So it was alcohol that made you tell the truth, not guilt.
Good old liquid courage.
Yeah. The old liquid slip. This is, to me, this is not one of those things that will go down as my normal stories of burn the bridge, never talk to her, low contact, no contact, blah, 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 and everything else. Because, yeah. However, no, I'm not apologizing back to you at all because you almost effed up my life. We ain't talking about my girlfriend. You're talking about my child. But let's just say it will be a while before I'll be able to talk to you again as if it was normal. Because you nearly destroyed my life. You just really, really did.
You thought my life was a game that you could play around with little marionettes that you can just pull a string and people, there are things out there called hobbies. Crafting, drawing. Because this is... Stop it. And this level of manipulation. My brain is still trying to even process this because...
You can't believe somebody would stoop that low or something?
A family member that close. This blows my mind. You thought it would be funny? Number one, my partner was pregnant. You could have cost us our child. That shit ain't funny.
Is this real or not?
I almost went...
No, this is am I the a-hole? Because I could believe somebody doing this and it would still get the same reaction from me.
Yes, sir, you did not... Now that I actually know the layers of this all, I would say you held yourself in pretty well. Not the a-hole. You don't have to apologize. So my brain is still just going, what the fuck did I just hear?
Theus?
Well, this is one of those times I'm saying amen to everything that Anna said. I got nothing.
That's it?
What? I mean, she was malicious. She was cruel. What she did, what she did to her own brother is bad enough, but what you did to this young lady who she was just, I don't know, an extra for you to play with, and that's just a special level of cruelty. And no, he shouldn't apologize. And yeah, what Anna said. I mean,
You're a special kind of special.
I almost want to say that this is worse than the nurse, except that the nurse can reach more, do more damage.
Nah, this ain't beat the nurse. This ain't.
It it's almost there though. For
Well,
me.
we ain't got but a few more months before we rehash all the stories again. We ain't got but a few more months before, cause
Yeah, I can't believe we're already in August and we're already halfway through almost.
I was looking through. Just a side note, I was looking through because I kept it in a file this time so I wouldn't forget it. So remember we have the cheating husband. I can't remember what that was. The one from yesterday, the future wife doesn't want my daughter in the wedding. Leaving my boyfriend over a prank. I don't remember that. Then we got the evil stepsister. I'm shocked that we forgot. I am really shocked that we forgot about the guy who left his wife because of the sex of the baby, because his mother manipulated him and believing that calendars and whatever. I forgot all about that story and the husband responding. And then lastly, and I don't think that story was too long ago, the lady who lost her child, but the husband had already left her and the family was blaming her for not working harder to get in contact with them. So we have a slew of them. So
wow.
It'll be a couple of months before we get back into it, but we got some doozies up there. So yeah, Thiz, you may have been right from yesterday. That story may not even reach the top 5 because I forgot all about them other stories. That's just like
it's like getting hit with, you know, the Trump presidency after an Obama presidency where a new scandal is happening before you even were done reading or hearing or learning about what was happening just an hour ago, maybe. I wonder why our brains can let go of some things so easily. I don't know the neurology of it.
Because this is just not good. I deemed it a TikTok society. We're so committed to being mad, being frustrated, being irritated, being aggravated, being in an uproar, being just ready to burn this world down on whatever the situation is. That's bad, and it is bad, and everything else. And then it's a lull, and we let it go until the next one.
But even if you think back to a time where we only had TV, we had the news to give us our national affairs, and sorry, my brain is blanking, but like Theus would often talk about what he sees wrong with the media. That we're not revisiting, we are not coming to any conclusions. We're just going on to the next headline.
Well, I think a part of this comes into one, the strongest memories are tied to an emotion, and then you also look at it from a chemical level. You know, if you're constantly being pumped, just a new thing that just triggers that anger, fear, joy, whatever, but it's just being pumped. It's just like a drug. You get addicted to the high, and the substance itself is secondary. So, yeah, we get a lot of information coming at us, but it's all triggering the same emotional response.
Right.
Excuse me. So you're not going to remember each of the events. You're going to remember the feelings.
Right.
And so you have that part of it. So, I mean, I think there's a biological reason for it. It makes perfect sense, unfortunately. And then from a society level, even though I don't agree that everybody needs to take a break, because I think people aren't engaged enough to deserve a break. But people are constantly seeking a way to separate or detach for a little while at least from things that they feel are beyond their control. So I
A
think that's
mental
one
health
reason that a
break.
lot of, well, that's what we've used now as terminology, but really it's just avoidance. But when you're faced with things that seem too complex or too large for you yourself to meaningfully impact, you oftentimes will detach from it. This is why very few people really follow politics to a deep extent. And why a lot of people who do follow politics don't actually go very deep, because it just becomes their new form of entertainment. So people are, I call it the chaos theory, right? We're all living in our little bubbles of chaos. And we're so busy just trying to figure out our bubble of chaos that we hide from the bigger things, right? We blame Biden for not being, we won't say it this way, but we blame Biden for not being a saint. We blame Biden for not being a superhero.
Right.
Because it's easier than blaming ourselves for how we raise our children, how we conduct ourselves each day, how much what we say we believe in is reflected in our actions, how we select our entertainment. We don't, it's much easier to hide from the big things, and it's also easier to hide from our deficiencies. So we scroll or we click. You know, we don't open books. And we got to the point now where if you want a book, they just do Audible now. It's story time for adults. Read it to me. Right? So it's a societal thing. It's also a biological thing. And then you put both of those together, here we are.
Speaking
And not just a ray of
personally,
sunshine.
speaking
I
personally
was
though about Audible, I was a voracious reader in my childhood, and I cannot do that between trying to focus my eyes on little type and then to bring up a picture in my head. The abstract thinking is very, very difficult. So having somebody read the story or book and then having the words in front of me as well, it really specifically helps me and people like me who come from a disability standpoint. But I do
No, I'm
understand
not
what you're
saying it like that. I
saying.
mean, if you have a neurological issue, then you use whatever tools are
Right.
needed to help you. Vast majority of us do not have that excuse.
yeah.
We just don't. It's simply that we don't want to take the time. And I'm guilty, right? I love podcasts and documentaries, and I've
I
never
love
done Audible, but that's
documentaries.
just because I'm too lazy to develop a login. But I do those things. But when I pick up my books and I read it, I can't read like I did when I was younger.
No.
When I was younger, I would sit there and read an entire book because I would get locked into it.
Yep.
Now I'll read 5, 6 or so pages and fall asleep. So I get it. I'm part of this culture too, right? I'm part of this society too. I'm just saying that I look at myself and I say the things that are wrong with me or that are not where they need to be or
Right.
the messed up decisions I make. I don't hide from them. I'll tell you straight up what I've done. And I just need more people to do that. But that's
I'm not.
not natural. So people don't do
I'm
it.
not a reader. I used to
No.
be. When I was in elementary, I would read. I would find an author, Judy Blume. I literally think I have read every Judy Blume book that she ever wrote.
I think I have
That's
to.
because you were getting that Pizza Hut personal pan pizza.
What?
You don't remember that? You used to
No.
get for being a good reader, you would get the personal pan pizza little slips. And then you could go to Pizza Hut and get a personal pan pizza.
In your
That made
neighborhood?
a lot of kids read. That made a lot of kids read.
It did.
Not
Yes.
I never got one.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You are
Oh,
owed a
I have
pizza,
no idea.
man.
Man,
I got a
I
sticker.
used
Oh,
man, I used to get so many of them things, boy. I'd be like, yep, I read every book on the list. Can I get my pizza pan, my personal pan pizza, please?
my personal.
Yeah, that's when
I
people
remember that.
do it, though. Not so much now. Real or nah? Okay. Off the bat, I'm not going to tell you my answer, of course. I, however, am going to tell you there's a part of the story that made my decision for me. So it wasn't even the whole story. It was just one portion of the story that made my decision. I hate my wife's best friend.
Her over this. I'm a 26-year-old man, and my wife, Kate, is 26. I hate my wife's best friend, Lisa, who's 26. Some backstory. I met my wife when we were in high school and we had the same friend group. After a few months of knowing Katie, I fell in love with her. I ended up confessing my love for her since we went out on many dates. We dated for about 6 years. Then I proposed to her. We both were extremely happy with each other. We told our family and friends. Lisa, whom my wife has known since they were 7 years old, wasn't so happy, nor did she congratulate us. At the time, I didn't really wonder why she wasn't happy that her best friend got engaged. My wife asked Lisa to be her maid of honor. After 4 years of marriage, I noticed that my wife, for some odd reason, changed her mind about a lot of stuff. Lisa started to visit my wife 3 to 4 times a week, but after every time Lisa visited us, me and my wife would have a disagreement over small things, like her wanting to become a housewife and that I have a problem with it. To be clear, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. After 2 months of this, my wife moved back in with her parents for some space. After she randomly came back, she stopped trusting me with simple tasks. After my wife became pregnant since May of this year, I noticed that when Lisa came to our house, my wife started to change. A month ago, I came home early, and I couldn't help myself but overhear their conversations without their knowledge, and I heard Lisa talking bad about me, and telling my wife that she should abort the baby so the baby sign wouldn't be an Aquarius? My heart broke when I heard my wife saying that she was considering doing that. Since I trust my wife, I said nothing, but after a month, she talked to me about aborting the baby. I disagreed with her and she said nothing. Yesterday, I noticed that my wife lost a lot of weight, and she broke down sobbing, telling me that she aborted the baby a week ago without telling me. I was livid at what she said, so I shouted at her and told her that she shouldn't listen to all of Lisa's BS. My wife started defending Lisa, saying that I shouldn't talk about her best friend like that. I yelled at her more, saying that Lisa does nothing but brainwash her. I packed all of my stuff and asked my older brother if I could stay with him for a few weeks. I told him everything, and now I'm thinking of divorcing my wife over this. OP.
I'll let
I'm
everybody
gonna go
talk.
with nah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm saying I'll let everybody else talk first, so go ahead.
I'm gonna go with nah. Even if it's real, I'm still gonna go with nah. And then I'm gonna say fuck her and her best friend. We getting a divorce. Divorce is happening. You know, that's done. Like, that's done. The moment you went and aborted that baby, we were done. And y'all can come at me all you want to about it's her right, her body, her whatever. I don't give a fuck. Fuck y'all too. When she went behind his back
Mm-hmm.
and aborted the baby that they were both expecting in their marriage, even if they weren't married, I'd still say this part though. But they were together planning for this baby. And then she goes and has the abortion. Okay, well, that's her right to do it. Just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean you should do it. Let's just be real about some shit.
Or that
So,
it's right to do it in that fashion.
right. So, I mean, you know, but
You're
I'm
just
telling you, for me, fuck her. I don't give a damn what happens to her. I don't care if she walk outside the bus catcher. I don't care. We are done.
For me, it was the and nah, abort because there'll be an Aquarius.
But if you believe in the full rights of a woman to have an abortion for any reason that she so chooses, that's as good an excuse as any other.
Okay.
Because it's her choice.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It doesn't really seem like it was her choice. It was something she seemed
Nope, her choice.
manipulated.
Her choice.
Here's the
Because
deal.
you know how many steps you got to go through to do
Yes,
this?
I do. Yes, I
You
do.
see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
You're believing this
decided,
transition.
you decided to have an. I'm saying nah.
this ain't going to the McDonald's and getting a number 4.
Yeah. I'm saying nah to this whole story. Not the whole story. I'm saying nah because you aborted the baby because it's fine. Now let's pretend that this is real. I'm taking it from the OP's point of view. First of all, I'm not waiting till it gets to this point. Be honest with you. I'm looking at my wife like, could you explain to me how everything is cool and then every fucking time your friend come over here is sometimes damn dispute? Like, what the hell? If you can't see it, let's go ahead and check this shit right here and right now. Number 2, if I hear your friend talking shit about me and you just listening and nodding your head, no, I'm not going to pretend like I didn't hear you. Why did you not jump in and defend your husband like I would do if somebody was talking shit about my wife? Number 3, you can abort all you want to for whatever reason that you want to. We ain't disputing that. Guarantee one thing though, the same way that you can decide that you wanted to abort your baby, it's the same way I can walk the fuck out of this door and out of this marriage.
Damn straight.
Don't get it twisted that you have some rights and I have none. Bruh, miss me. If you want to be with your friend more than you want to be with me, go ahead and be with your friend more than you want to be with me, because you're sure as hell listening to your friend more than you're listening to your husband. Fuck you, fuck your friend, fuck your friendship. We ain't never gonna talk about this because I sure as hell don't want to talk to you. You took a life for a sign? What?
Well, wait a minute. Whoa. So here's a question. Just because, you know, sometimes I get hung up on words.
Mm-hmm. I think I know where you're going. I think.
So first part I will say though is, if I overhear you talking shit about me to your friend, I may or may not call you on that one, because everybody needs to vent. So I don't care, right? Where I would have stepped in though, it wouldn't have been well, I didn't say anything, and then a month later, no, that shit ain't gonna happen. Once you said you should abort the baby because it'll be an Aquarius, I'm stepping in the room saying, what the hell did I just hear?
What?
Right? Like you can talk bad about me all you want to, but that's off the wall. Woo-hoo. So I'm coming in hot right there. Right? We're gonna go ahead and have a fight in front of your friend.
Yep.
We can argue with everybody. I don't care. But going down, different thing, and it is a bit of a pivot, but it's an important pivot. When you were saying you took a life over a sign, that will depend upon your stance in the abortion argument. Because many of the people who are pro-choice do not acknowledge it's a life. They say it's a collection of cells.
Of cells.
And so it's still a fetus. Is that I've always felt like that was why the abortion argument is so muddled, because we argue on the wrong points. Not you,
Are
Marlon,
they
but
conscious
we argue
yet?
on the
I know,
wrong
I know
points.
where you're going with this. The reason why I don't get the reason why my stance has always been stop deciding what other people can do with their damn body. That's always been my stance and everything.
Right.
Because I
The
can't
focus
get
needs to
into
be
an
on
argument of what your argument is, because I know you're not coming from a clear stance. You move the goalpost so damn much. Why would I hold a conversation with you? Because even if I was science, you
No,
don't
I'm
believe
just
in
saying.
science, so fuck that.
I'm just saying it's a
Religion, you don't
bad.
believe in certain religions, so fuck that. Beliefs, you
Yeah.
move the goalpost on beliefs, so fuck that. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you about it.
But that's why I think that the arguments are so messed up, and that's why we argue against each other, and we're able to like use these things as cudgels, because we're fighting on the wrong ground. If we're going to focus on rights, then we just be able to debate rights.
Yes.
Once we start debating life, you have now inserted science, religion. You've brought everybody to the table when you start debating life. Because who are we to define when life starts? Right? I don't think that we are in a position to argue when life starts. Because you tell me, well, it's just a collection of cells with electrical signals. Is that not life? It continues on and becomes a baby, right? So it's like, right? So it's like when people argue life, I get a little like concerned, because what we really should be looking at is autonomy and rights. Autonomy for the woman, right? She should have full autonomy over her body.
Yeah.
But then rights, I think the argument or discussion on rights needs to be expanded too. Because if you have impregnated a woman in a consensual relationship or situationship, well, so basically not rape,
right?
And
yeah,
right, she ain't got to be your girlfriend. It could be a one-night stand,
right?
But you are the type of man, like I am, that believes no matter what, I raise my child. I will do any and everything to raise my child. So under the pure rights argument, I have no rights. Even though I would be there to raise my child, even though I'm not your man, I still have no rights. So you can now murder the baby and I can't say anything about it. And yet I'm responsible for helping with your care while you're pregnant. So that's a messed up situation. How do you beat up on a man in that way and just completely disregard our feelings and our stance, right?
That is wrong.
But you have to err on the side of caution and on the majority circumstances. And at the end of the day, the one whose physical health is in danger is her. Like the closest thing to death a woman comes to is childbirth. So you err on that side. So it's like it's a really muddled argument. But we got to stay off of the life part, because it's like Jesus or God or Muhammad or whoever, everybody got a perspective. Even Dr. Joseph, who don't even believe in God, he got a perspective. So
it messes everything up. It messes everything up on the other end. And I tell you why I just can't hold an argument with you, especially when I keep saying that they moved the goalposts so damn much. Because I look at some of the shows where they, so do you believe that you can abort up to 3 weeks before the due date and everything? When And
They're
there was a
talking
doctor who,
about a post-birth abortion.
yes, and the
which is not
doctor
a thing.
said there has been
No.
no record of that ever happening. No, that's not what I
No,
asked.
no,
I
no, no,
asked, are
no.
you okay with
But
it?
that's
There
not
are
a
records.
thing.
That's not true. So that's the thing. Everybody's playing this game on semantics and not really going all the way
No, that
through
was
it.
it. He
Like
was
there is
saying
no
this
such
today.
thing as a post-birth abortion, right? That's the baby
It's
was
murder.
born and then you killed it. So that's infanticide, right?
Yes.
But if you could, and there have been abortions, technical term of abortions, right
Because
before the baby being born, because
because
the baby might have died in the course of being delivered, right? The cord around their neck or something like that. The baby may have died from shock or, because their blood pressure rises, their heart rate rises. Everybody is in a really high state when the baby's being born, including the baby. So the baby died inside the woman, you got to get it out. That's technically an abortion. So it's like, yes, there are late term abortions, but in almost, at least as far as I know, every case, I'm not even gonna say almost every case, there are extenuating circumstances that made that 0.01% occurrence happen. Most abortions are in the first 4 months. That's when they happen.
but their argument has always been, and I'm not jumping on you, Theus. Absolutely correct on what you're saying. But their arguments have been, but do you think that it's right? They're not gonna tell you unless. I mean, we still got people who says even in the fate of the R word that a woman should still give birth. So whatever. They don't care. They're not in good faith. They have an ending, and they're gonna skew wherever they say all the way forward to get their ending. And you can come up with an argument all you want to about why you're out of your freaking mind. I'll just change the narrative. Laminated piece of paper. Go ahead, Anna.
Two things. As an activist who works with people who are seeking abortions, the number one story that is relayed to me is the mother's life is in danger. Second, and I have permission to tell this story. My mother, in between my brother being born in 76 and me in 80, was pregnant. 3 Mile Island went off and a lot of women miscarried. My mother and my aunt were actually two of them. She was told, my mother, to go home. Yes, your baby has died. Now go home because we need to be certain. She wanted a DNC to take now a dead collection of cells that were starting to rot in her body.
You have to be in sepsis now for them to do something. It's cruel.
It is fucking cruel. It's right. What Lorraine had to be put through, and so many other women who are now grieving a baby that they wanted, but now they need one of these procedures. By the time they finally hospitalized her and did the procedure a couple weeks later,
Weeks?
the doctor actually told her that it was a putrid mass, quote end quote, sitting in her belly. I could have not been born. That could have ended her life. It could have ended her ability to have children. If she had just been able to get that when they could confirm no heartbeat before it has a chance to, like I said, rot. This is more than an birth control. This is health. And like everybody says, as a kid, I once came to Lorraine and said that, what is it about the abortion debate that I'm not getting? I was a young girl, and she said one thing to me: abortions will still happen whether it's legal or illegal. Don't we want it to be in a legal fashion? And I went, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but I think it's important. We have to find a. Oh no, we don't have to do shit. But it's important if you want to, as with any topic, get through to your opposing party.
mm,
You have to define the landscape in which you're going to do battle, right?
right.
So
Hello, Mother Heart.
if they are coming purely from
Mama.
a religious standpoint, right? They're coming from a purely religious thing.
She was put
God
in a
created
religious
life.
hospital, and that's why it was delayed. Mm,
Well, I'm not even saying that part. I'm just saying like the people who
sorry.
oppose,
That's
abortions
that's
or
their
whatnot.
argument.
Mm,
But
mhm.
if they are coming at it from that angle, then okay, we're gonna stay there, right? Because you're not gonna dance around. We're not gonna play rhetorical fetch, because that's what people love to do. They love to start here and then shift over here, and
The
once that
what about?
argument's not working, we'll shift back over here. No.
Right.
So we're gonna do the religious argument. Then I'm gonna ask you, who is the author and finisher of life? And you're gonna tell me that it's God. And I'm gonna ask you who has ultimate authority and all power. You're gonna tell me that it's God. And you're gonna tell me who should I place my faith in? Who should I place my trust in? And you're gonna tell me that it's God. So then I'm going to ask you, if God is this powerful, why does he need you to force another person to obey his will? Where is that in his word for that to be the case? Like, you got to, like, that's where we
Wow.
go. I will make you look at yourself, because the reality is you do not believe in your God the way that you say you do. And I can prove it through your own action. I can prove it through your own weak faith. Because if God is all things and has preordained your path, yes, you have free will. And I know that little weird cop out. But you say that God is the one who's controlling everything. So if you shift now to free will, then I'm going to ask you, how is it your free will to override their free will? And if we're all going to stand in the seat of judgment, or stand before the seat of judgment for all of our wrongs, our sins, because we're all as dirty rags and all come short, right? So we're all going to stand in judgment, and he's not a respecter of persons, and he's in all sins are sins. Then this sin is no greater than the sin that you may have committed in your life. So let God be that judge. Right? But you don't want that, because at the end of the day, abortion opposition is because of power
And control.
and because of politics, right? Power because you want people to act like you, do what you do, and you will hide behind other things. Whatever that thing is, you'll hide behind it to push that. And then the politic of it, because you really are trying, like for the ones who are really more concerned about birth rates, that's what you, like for those, that group, that sliver is all about birth rates. We need more babies born. So you're against abortion for that reason. You'll say you're against it for this reason over here, but really it's about this one right here, right? So make people stand on what it is that they actually are doing, and what you'll oftentimes find is they will back off of it, because unless they got their crew behind them, they weren't ready to look at it. Like we see these Trump things all the time where they talk to an individual, and what was the one, Anna? It was the one where they were like, well, I hadn't really thought about it. About your sexuality.
Asking when did you decide to be straight?
Right? And then when you're asked that,
when did you make your choice?
All your speaking points fall apart, because you're like,
I didn't make a choice.
A lot of people are like that.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short because we're going kind of long, and the fact that we're already on a certain subject.
Yeah. Sorry. I know that went heavy for a Saturday.
No, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely not, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate Mama Hart coming on here. I feel my blood pressure going up on this subject, and I know if I start talking, it's going to be a red. And Marlon, it's almost 12 o'clock. I got to go to work tomorrow. So I'm trying to stop it now before I jump into it. So.
Wait, we are on a Sunday.
This
right?
is a Sunday.
Yeah. I thought it was a Saturday for a moment.
Nope. Foxy's video of the week, in which I was the one that picked the music. I wanted to cut it short, not only because of the time frame. It is a small portion of what I'm saying. I wanted to cut it short because literally the very first video that we're going to look at is all with the subject that we're talking about right now. Not on abortion, but it does talk about Christianity and
those of you who know the Bible better than I do, Learn Life had a comment, and I'm sorry, I have a question. Just Jesus said, "Judge not, lest ye
be judged by my Father."
Is that a good representation of that paragraph? I'm not sure how to say it. Verse, thank you. Is
judge not that ye be judged, those without sin cast the first stone. It's basically saying,
take the beam out your eye, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing as saying when you go and you judge people for what their actions is without at the very least trying to tell everybody what your action is. It was a guy that did a video of a guy who he met at a railroad station. I'm sure it's a parody, but it was just making a point. The guy was Christian. I use these quotes now because I don't want to offend real Christians out there.
Right.
And these little fake Christians out here who just use a religion for power
and
control. So he was a Christian who was and homosexuality is wrong and it's bad and it says in the Bible that it's bad and it's an abomination and everything. And the guy was just sitting there listening to him like, yeah, you know, the whole I'm listening to you, but I'm really not paying attention to what you're saying because you're full of crap. Yeah. Until he saw a woman walk by who had a wonderful body. And woo, look at that. That's man, oh man, oh man. That's and it's like, and the guy just looked at him like, so you want to use the Bible about homosexuality, you want to forget about the part about the Bible about lusting after women? You want to forget that part of the Bible? It's basically like you're pick and choose parts of the Bible that define your life. I'll put it that way.
Well,
your life.
For me, it's like this. I'm holding you to what you say you believe.
There you go, LL. Don't be a hypocrite.
So I'm holding you to what you say you believe. So you can't hold me accountable.
Tracy would often say that we don't have the full context of the
and we
verse.
don't. We're not taking this in the full context.
Okay.
Because, like, for example, the judge not lest ye be judged, in my opinion, and also the beam in your own eye and all that good stuff, it's not saying that judgment is wrong. It is saying that before you will subject another to judgment, have you prepared yourself for judgment? You yourself were unclean. How dare you do that? Assert yourself able to judge this other party for something. Only God is perfect. So God is the arbiter of all things, and you are imposing yourself in the middle of all that, knowing that you don't even have clean hands, right? So I get it. It's just my thing is this. If you say you believe in whatever it is you believe, the Torah, the Quran, or the Bible, that's what you have professed belief in. So I'm holding you to that. You can't hold me to that unless I also believe in it. So to say abortion is wrong,
you do say that you have you rock with the Christian church.
I do. I have a very strong Christian background. It's all I really know. Okay. But I myself no longer identify as a Christian just because of how, all this stuff. Like, I can't claim to be on the team and then pretend like I don't see what the team is doing. It's almost similar to what Republicans do and Democrats do and all that. Like, you'll explain away the parts you don't really like. Go ahead, Mom.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought, because you're gonna have, trust me, because you're gonna have more after this video. Let me play this video, and I want you to jump right back in after the video because it's specifically on what you're saying right now.
Conservatives need to start realizing that the left is anti-Christianity.
Hi, former Republican hype girl here myself. I just want to let you know that conservatives already think that the left is anti-Christianity. I was taught that narrative my entire life. I believed that Democrats and anyone on the left was against God and against Christianity, and that I would get persecuted when I would stand up for my faith. But I was very outspoken for Jesus my entire life. In public schools, I had Jesus signs on my locker. I did prayer meetings. No one said anything to me. But interestingly enough, the only time I've ever started receiving hate and persecution was when I started being more outspoken about my faith, but not in a Republican way. When I started calling out Trumpism and nationalism, you would not believe the type of hate that I've received from Christians, not big bad atheists, Christian conservatives. When I got out of the conservative groupthink, I did realize that the left is anti-hate and anti-bigotry, and if that's what your Christianity is about, I'd be more concerned about yourself.
So that's why I was stopping you, brother. She's making the same point.
Wow.
That's the thing. What do you profess to? And then we'll work from there. Right? Like, and then not only what do you profess to, but how well do your behaviors and your actions reflect that which you say you believe in? Yeah. I think that's super important. I think the loudest sermon that you'll ever preach is the one that you never say. When people ask me what do I believe in, and except for like in this one, you would just ask me, and I said no, I don't, actively identify as a Christian. I mean, I do for my parents and stuff like that because it's easier than going through this long conversation. But
Gotcha.
at the end of the day, I say that this is what I do say to my parents, and I say to anyone else. If you want to know what I believe in, watch what I do. Watch everything about me. All the hypocrisy that I have, all of the strengths that I have, the weaknesses I have. Look at me. That is my religion, right? That I'm trying to take care of children that I don't even know. That I'm trying to help people with housing issues that I don't even know. I don't have any of these issues personally. I've personally been fortunate enough to start at a different level. I'm not where I want to be by any long shot. Certainly not in a financial position to do half the stuff I want to do. But I believe that it's part of my calling, according to my faith, to do these things. And so I'm asking for help from others to do these things, but I'm not asking anyone else to believe what I believe. See, I'm doing what I'm doing because it's my belief. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm not doing this because I'm afraid that if I'm afraid of going to hell. Right? According to the rules that I was raised up on, I'm already on my way to hell because I don't go by your religion. And yet, my actions, right? I try to just be the type of person that I want to see in this world that I think that my creator would want for me to do during my allotted time here. But according to that thing that I was raised up in, even that still dooms me to hell. Because I didn't make the loyalty pledge that's required. Because all of my acts fall short, right? And that's cool. I do believe all my acts fall short because I'm a fallible creature. But I don't think that's why I'm going to hell, right? I believe when I die, I'm going into oblivion. When I die, that I go back to the Creator, right? But whatever you believe.
Yeah.
But yeah. But that's my thing. Like, what do you say you believe in? So if you say that you believe in Christ, I don't really interact that much with my brothers and sisters that are in Islam and stuff like that because we just don't cross paths like that. But you say you believe in Christ, and yet you're messy, you're gossipy, you got a lot of hate going on, you don't want to do nothing for nobody else. You don't actively try to do nothing for nobody else, but you made the loyalty pledge, so you're okay. That's inconsistent with how I rock, but that's also irrelevant. You say that you are against abortion because of what you say your religion says about it. Well, it just so happens I know a good little bit about your religion too, so let's have that discussion. Either I'm going to learn something, or you're going to learn something, or we both going to learn something. But I do challenge you to make that thing stand up against what you say. No.
I told your story. Mama Heart says hello.
Hello.
And thank you, she says.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You never know who is touched by your story. As I tell my children, you don't know who draws strength from you.
I do this show.
They could be across the room.
I do this show knowing that we have low people who watch this show. We're not up there with all the other people with she was.
Jesus, Lorraine would often say that Jesus was a hippie.
I don't know about that one because
I would literally say Jesus was a progressive. I've always said that about.
I don't know about progressive.
I would say progressive.
What is a progressive? What's a progressive?
Somebody who moves things to a better life, to a better world, to a better outcome, not just for their generation, but the next generations after. That's why I always thought Jesus was more of a progressive than anything else. This is why I say about Christianity. Have you noticed they never say the teachers of Jesus is the reason
They
why
seldom do.
they always say the teachers of God.
They bounce back and forth. But there's a case for that because God is everything.
Whoa. I've never heard them bounce forward on Jesus.
No, they bounce back and forth because for them, they want grace. For you, they want the law.
Okay. So, okay.
So
you're right.
They'll be in the New Testament all day long for why you need to give them some room. They go to the Old Testament for why you need to step up and do what they say.
The Old Testament allowed me to slap you across the face. The New Testament says don't slap me back.
I heard one of my favorite podcasts, other than this one, of course.
Anna, you ain't got to think about it hard. That's exactly what it means.
It's the one called The Holy Post. I've sent you guys clips on it before. But
I do enjoy
there was one episode.
Checking in.
I love that joint. But one of the things they were pointing out is like I think it was a pastor, was talking to one of these Christian nationalist type cats, right? And now, to a Christian nationalist, they don't consider themselves that; they just consider themselves Christian. But the pastor was talking to him, and he was like basically telling Jesus' Sermon on the Mount without using Jesus, right? Just talking about, the fruits of the Spirit and temperance and patience and forgiveness and all these good things, right? And the guy was like, "What kind of garbage is that?" And the pastor was like, "That's Jesus." So we've seen where people are flipping and morphing and twisting things, and they've been doing it for a while. This is just a culmination of it. But they will go back to Jesus speak after they reclaim power. See, right now, they have to do whatever is necessary to regain the power so that they can then reinstall Christ to his proper role. But in this moment, they are David Christian. They are do what must be done to secure for the rights of God.
As in David and Goliath?
Right. Well, David is the same David, but David is he is one of the most favorite characters out of the Old Testament because he was a complicated man, but he is viewed to be out of God's own heart, right? Because he's a descendant of Abraham, and Jesus comes out of David's lineage, and it's all this stuff, right?
Abraham,
so,
oh wow, okay,
right. So David was a soldier. He was a king. He was, he was so many things. But then he was also a broken man, right? Where he wanted that woman, and he sent her husband to the front lines so that he would die, so he could take her, right? So he's a complicated creature. This is they intone David a lot of times when they use Trump, right? David wasn't perfect. Trump isn't perfect. David did bad things. Trump did bad things. But all of this, at the larger point, was to move God's people forward for the glory of God and his kingdom. So they do this. They twist and they morph things around. And because no one actually reads the text, they're stuck with what they're told. And it just moves. All right. So that's where that kind of comes from.
I remember telling this story a long time ago, just to make it more secular. Remember all the crap we went through with Trump, all the way up to the election, even before the election, fraud and everything else. And I'm looking at this dude on Facebook. Here's my chance. No, it's not right. This is not wrong. Blah, blah, blah. He's doing this for the great good of America. Blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that Trump did. Y'all know it. I know it. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not lying to you. I will put my hand on the Bible. Coincidence. That this guy, after the election, when they found out that Biden won, we now have to come together as a nation and as peaceful as we possibly can. And I'm like, you really didn't care about peace when you had power.
No, it's always like
now you don't have the power, so now we need to come together. In other words, you didn't give a rat's ass that we were separated as long as you had the power. But now that you don't have the power, we need to come together as a nation.
grace for me, law for you, right? So when we're in power, you should yield to the law, and you should pray for your leaders so that they will be guided by the Lord. And if they are gone astray, then God can correct them because they are your leaders. And it is up to God to correct your leaders, not you. That's that argument. But then when you're in the minority, now you need grace. Now you need people to move away from the law. You shouldn't have to obey Biden and pray for Biden and try to uplift Biden and all that stuff. Oh, that's out the window now. No, that's out the window because see, he's not God's man, right? And then it doesn't matter what actions are occurring, right? So it doesn't matter that Biden is Biden is an imperfect vessel, just like Trump is an imperfect vessel, right? But what we look at and we see Biden trying to take care of his son, who has gone through unimaginable turmoil, right? He lost his mother, his sister, his brother. Right? He is going through. He's gone through the ringer, and politics say separate yourself from this person because it's a bad look. It's going to complicate your administration. But as a father and as a man of his own faith, he pulls Biden closer. He pulls Bo, or whatever the son's name is, Hunter. He pulls Hunter closer, right? As the prodigal child was done. I mean, it's like it's in your book, right? The prodigal son had a brother. The brother did everything that the father said. He stayed with the father, cared for the father, took care of the land and the business for the father. But the prodigal son decided, no, Dad, give me my inheritance now. I am going to go be my own man and do my own thing. And he got there and did a whole bunch of horrible stuff and all that, to the point that he was ashamed to come back to his father. And then he comes back to his father, a broken man, expecting to be punished, saying to his father, Father, I am not asking to be put back by your side. I do not deserve to be by your side. I am just asking to come back home and I will be your servant. And the father says, no, you are my son. I will care for you as my son. Come up and take your place beside me. Now you got a brother who did everything right and a brother that did everything wrong. But such is the love of the father that he brings them both as equals back into the home, back into his love. That's what literally Joe has done with his two sons.
Gotcha. Okay. Right?
But you look at Trump. How does he treat his family? It's wild. It's wild. So the cognitive dissonance is just amazing.
Very
so,
much.
I don't know.
I really do appreciate when you can elaborate on these things, because I do not know the context of the Bible. I know little pinpoints. That's it.
There are people who are going to watch this show in future who is in the same box. They don't know. There are people who don't know the Bible. They know what was told to them that was in the Bible. And that's why I break these segments up. And thanks a lot, because I'm pretty sure this was an hour-long segment. So thank you for the content.
And y'all out there, please don't take what I'm saying as gospel, because I am not a minister. I am not a theologian or any of those things. Go and read it for yourself. Study for yourself. Not only do you need to go read it for yourself, now go to these people who swear they know it and have them talk to you too. But make sure you read first. Read first, then go to them for clarification and understanding. And that way you'll be able to discern the difference in what's being said to you. Don't just take what I'm saying or anybody else is saying to you.
Right. Do your own research.
Yeah, always.
Do research.
But don't stop at the research. That's my point. Don't just pick up the Bible. And my Christian family out there, you'll know what I'm saying when I say this. Don't just pick up the Bible as just some text and go trying to read it. There's a reason why believers say that you go to God first and then you pick up the word, because you want to be in the right mind frame that you are receiving the messaging in the text. And, and I'm not saying that the prayer, because I'm one of the people who looks at prayer a different way than most. So I'm not saying that prayer is going to unlock this magical moment and now you can read the Bible and you're getting different words than I'm getting or Marlon getting or you're getting. I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. What prayer can help you do is just like meditation. It can help you shut off the things that are creating noise. It can humble you for a moment so that when you exit your prayer and you go into the text, you can go to it and see what it's trying to say to you. Because the Bible is full of stories and examples and fables and facts and all that stuff is all mixed up in there. So that's just my word of advice to you out there who want to go and study. Read it, but talk to people too, but don't take none of it.
And the Bible has been changed many times. I know the St. James version. Is there more than that?
King James.
Yeah, there are a lot of there are a lot of interpretations. But you get to the one that helps you is the way I would put it, right? Because like there's when you have a kid who's 6-7 years old, at least for me anyway, I was not taught to read King James at 6 and 7 years old. I had like student Bibles, right? I had, dumb it down for me and speak English.
What was before King James?
I have no idea.
Because I grew
Go
up
back far enough, you'll end up with the Hebrew language and
that one. It was one before King James because I was right around.
Weren't they scrolls written in Greek?
No. I mean the Bible itself. I was around when the King James version came out, and I was understanding the King James version a lot more than what came beforehand. Because the one that came beforehand, bruh, I ain't understand a freaking word that I was reading, let alone pronouncing what they were saying, and let alone, I don't know if thou was an and was a thus, and thus was a thee, and hookah, looka, laka, laka. I didn't understand what they were talking about, and you're trying to tell an 8-year-old go read your Bible. For what? I have no idea what you're saying right now could save my life, and I have no idea what the heck is being said. Even if
that's
it's
part of the issue.
To me.
That's part of the issue. That's why religion, almost all of them, is dictated through word. That's why we have pastors and priests and so forth, because we're expecting them to be more learned in the subject, so that they are not just reading it to us, but after they read it, they give us the interpretation so that we can absorb it, right? Because if you read these new versions, they're written like in plain speak in a way, but you lose. But if you know King James, you know that you've lost some of the message when you're reading the new version. And then King James was a rewrite, because he didn't like certain rules that were in the Bible that were getting in his way. So that was a political adjustment. And then you go further back and you get into like some of the Greek things like you were saying, but the Greeks are not the foundation of where this religion came from. So they stole it. And then you
Right.
go further back. It's like you keep going back, and you'll end up back at the
So,
Torah, which is where the Old Testament is coming out of. So that's why I think people who are believers try to get it across that you can't just pick this thing up like any book off the shelf, right? You have to, I don't know how to explain it.
and wasn't Tracy, if you could answer me that, could you put up her last comment, Marlon, please?
Sure.
The Tyndale Bible, was that something done around Henry VIII and, before he broke from Rome, I guess it was? Just wondering where that
Yeah, I
comes
don't know
from.
the history like that.
I don't know the history.
Right.
I don't know. We're learning today, folks.
We're
Like I said, thank you for the
I
content.
got questions.
That's all right. That's fine. Thank you for the content. You're not the old Anna. Woo, I'm getting real familiar. Anna.
Like, who's that?
I don't even know. I have a cousin-in-law named Ann, so I was like, Ann? No. I do this show because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that people have questions, not only because of religion, but on politics, on social issues, or everything else, that they just don't want to stick their neck out there and ask because they feel, and I'm not talking about you, Anna, but they feel stupid.
I love to stick.
If they feel stupid before asking, because for some reason society has made it that your age determines your education on different subjects, and that's effing wrong, and it should be abolished, that training of thought.
If you lose yourself in that moment before you ask the question that, is this the right question? Is this a stupid question? You know what? It's the stupid questions that are often not stupid.
It's not. And you know,
well, there are such things as
there are some.
You know,
don't get me wrong.
That's the deal. Is you know what you
Lauren
know.
Boebert is a lot of them.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh.
No, but I mean, no. I got some really good advice from my sister some time back.
That is during Henry VIII. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But once again, remember that it's stolen in a lot of cases. So
right.
He who has the power edits what makes it to the next.
Right. Who was with the Latin and then could translate that into English had a lot of power.
Yeah, and then back then, the vast majority of people were illiterate, so it was only the elite who even had the text, so they could say whatever they wanted to. That movie.
I think it was illegal for poor people, to the commons in England, to own a Bible at a certain time, because that text was too holy for them. It could only be interpreted by priests, deacons, archbishops, etc.
And then you look at what happened when they came here and enslaved people. They turned around and said the only text you could have access to is the Bible.
Wow.
So story about
there's a lot that goes into this thing.
Yeah,
a lot that goes into this thing.
I told you a story about Cain and Abel. It's one of the many stories of Cain. We know the story of Cain and Abel, and for the rest of your life, Cain, your descendants will be the slaves of Abel. Descendants. Gee, I wonder what the slave masters told who was the descendants of Cain and who was the descendants of Abel.
We've talked about the mark of
the Mormons and
Cain,
all them that stuff. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Weaponize the
But once again,
Bible is very well known in this country.
Wow.
I'm saying it exactly like that. It's the weaponization of the Bible, because that's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
They used the Bible to weaponize it and make it okay and everything else. And we're living through it right now. It's still the weaponization of the Bible to get power and get control.
Bit of a distinction I'm going to push in here again.
Okay.
The Bible is like the gun. Okay.
It depends on the person.
It's the bullets is the rhetoric. It's the twisted interpretations. Because see, the people need something to believe in. People need something to believe in. And I heard, it was funny. It was on one of the more recent
I'm laying down.
pods.
I'm not asleep.
Huh?
I'm sorry, just Tracy's comment.
Tracy over here trying to be funny again. She always want these things.
She tried to lighten up the conversation.
Ask somebody lying down, are you sleepy? Anna's laying down, she ain't sleepy. And when somebody asks you what's on the phone, I don't get that one, Parker. But yeah, well, we do have to move on because we're doing.
Right,
we need to hit.
Sorry.
Run to the finish line.
Yeah. Let me explain.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, thank you. Great conversation.
Conservatives out there, know your role when you're talking about what's a trigger, and I'm on top of that trying to make a joke about it.
What's the difference between a gun and a whiny liberal? A gun only has one trigger.
And the irony will be lost on them.
It will be. Certainly will be.
There I was counting along with the triggers.
I gave up. I gave up on y'all when y'all was triggered by Eminem. I'm done. I'm just I can no longer take you seriously as a Eminem. I'm done. Kaepernick, I got it. I don't get it, but I get it. Kaepernick, I get it. Disney, as many people make a joke about it, I even get that. I honestly do. I even get it on The Little Mermaid. You know, if you racist and a bigot, seeing a black character that was a white character for as long as you know, I get it. I get it. Y'all got triggered over candy. And you want to? Okay. Yeah. What's the difference between a whiny liberal? Yeah. Okay. I can't take you seriously anymore. I on this concept of right now, I'm taking you as the dangerous opponent that you are, that you're just determined that you're going to bury everybody who's in your wake that's against you. That's how I'm going to take you as. Literally, that's what I'm taking you as. But if you want to use all this BS as a conversational piece, and this is the reason why you're doing it, I'm not doing it anymore.
No, you have to have a deeper conversation.
And they don't have the ability to do that.
They have the ability, they don't have the willingness.
Hmm.
And the willingness.
Some of them don't have the ability.
As we said years ago, one of the benefits, I mean, let's just be real, 90 whatever percent is a high 90s of this movement is white. Okay? So part of the benefit or privilege is being able to opt out of situations or discussions you don't want to be part of. So it's not that they're not capable of thinking through these things. I think that it's at our own peril if we think they're all unintelligent. Some very intelligent people over there.
Oh, yeah.
But they're being motivated by something, identity in many cases. You know. And then also self-preservation in some cases. Right? I mean, if you are the old analogy I used.
Parker, they would burn Nike shoes. Sorry. Yes.
So when he was talking about he don't remember when Nike was part of, and you don't
Probably
remember
before
burning their Nike shoes.
I don't remember that either.
I remember.
But anyway, yeah, don't worry about what I was about to say. Let's move through this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
For those who threw tantrums over a black Marinus, I love to tell them that was every mermaid in real life that they saw white. The non-gender potato head was around the same time as the M. I'm sorry, I can't. I forgot. I literally. This is how bad your thing is. I forgot all about Mr. Potato Head. I really did. I forgot all about that one.
Or just Potato Head.
So I'm done. I'm looking at you as the enemy who just want to bury everybody that against your will, and I'm going to treat you as such. I can't do the arguments no more with you. I'm not. I'm 50 something years old, and I'm saving my brain cells for something better. If it ain't nothing but going outside and jumping up and down in the rain, it's better than holding a conversation with you. I'm not doing it.
Going outside and touching grass, breathing the air. Ooh, that's so much more rewarding and
yeah. All right, corny jokes.
It just dawned on me.
Well, I just got out of work. I'm tired as a motherfucker.
We're still doing dad jokes? Like, really, we can't find anything else to laugh about? You poured dish soap on your face. What'd you gain from that?
Dad jokes? Really? That's what we doing? Y'all do too much. Y'all being real extra.
if it brings you joy, wonderful.
You like it, I love it.
There's probably a product that I could have brought out called Joy. Probably. I don't know.
I think it's time to bounce to the next topic.
I think I'm out.
Oh, one last video.
Okay.
Let's keep the corny jokes going.
Ah, crap. There's a new virus.
Oh, shit. No way.
Yeah, it's called the Peekaboo virus. Peekaboo? I don't know.
What the fuck is the Peekaboo virus?
I don't know. It says that it temporarily causes blindness.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, they said it starts from getting something on your hands and you rub your eyes and then all of a sudden you're blinded for like 30 seconds.
Is there like a cure or anything?
It doesn't say a cure or anything. Oh, not Peekaboo. It's the Peekaboo virus.
The Peekaboo virus?
Yeah, it says here it's actually pronounced the Peekaboo virus. And if you contract it, you need to get to the intensive care unit.
Intensive care unit? Damn.
Yeah, it says here that if you get the Peekaboo, you have to go to the ICU.
That was cute.
That was the longest setup for a joke ever.
Oh.
I'm tired.
So was that joke?
Oh, yep.
See, Tracy loved it. Tracy loved the joke.
I'm done.
And now for me to dissect the joke.
Oh my
30
God.
seconds? It said rub your eyes for 30 seconds.
You go blind.
Who does that in the game of peekaboo?
They said if you touch your eyes, you go blind for 30 seconds.
Who touches their eye in peekaboo? It's peekaboo. It goes kind of fast. Don't ever start that game with a little kid, though. Ooh, good Lord.
I would do that with my nephew, and he really loved it.
Man, yeah, but he loves it for like an hour.
And I've had hours to be with him, so I was happy to.
That's sweet. I'm like, hey, kid, I'm here.
I'm not there yet. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm just playing. I love little kids. I just hate that game.
We did a lot of that.
Where they can find you.
Yeah, about that. I guess you can go to complexsimpleman.com. Ain't nothing new on there right now, though.
So you're keeping the website up? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm going to start posting videos periodically, but it's just not the main thing I'll be doing. That'll be more of my mental health channel.
Okay. Anna?
I can be found at BorreliaEtc.com. BORRELIAETC.com. And I have been working on a video for a couple of months. I must apologize because I've said before, yeah, I'm working on, and yeah, I got really, really ill for a bit, and so I'm working on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ until
that is our show for tonight. I appreciate Theus. I appreciate Anna. I appreciate
you, Marlon.
Tracy. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
I mean, really, who's more boring, Mike Pence or Ben Carson?
Casey, I miss you.
That's a damn good question.